Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the school is in a panic, and I'm in the library. I've got students down under the table, kids. Heads under the table. I saw a student outside. I was in holding earlier, but okay. I was on hold duty. I saw a gun. I said, what's going on out there? He turned the gun straight at us and shot. And my God, the window went out. And the kid standing there with me, I think he got hit.
We've got help on the way, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Stay on the line.
11:19 a.m., April 20th, 1999, Columbine High School, Littleton, Colorado. Two senior boys, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, opened fire on their classmates, murdering 12 students and one teacher. They had entered the school feeling distraught and confused. What had happened to the 30 bombs they had strategically placed throughout the building? Why were they not going off? After planning the bombing for a year, they couldn't let their mission fail. In an effort to salvage their plans, Eric and Dylan were forced to rampage the hallways, each manned with multiple guns and knives, shooting into classrooms. Doing this, they made their way to the library, laughing and joking at the destruction. When they were inside the library, they shared short conversations with the students hiding under the tables and desks, killing a few when they grew bored. Then, they shot themselves. The attack was over. After the immediate wave of tragedy, the nation was left with two very pressing questions. What brought these two seemingly harmless honor students to murder? What caused them to turn against their friends and classmates and exercise one of the worst school shootings in our nation's history? In the end, it is incredibly important to analyze not just how Columbine happened, but why as well. Because of Eric and Dylan's mental illnesses, the bullying they experienced, and society's inability to perceive the warning signs, they were influenced to murder their teacher and fellow classmates. In the end, this horrific tragedy has influenced the establishment of various safety measures and has correlated to a number of other American school shootings. The journey to the attack began long before anyone would be able to imagine that these students would commit such a heinous act. At birth, Dylan was born depressive, hot-headed, and suicidal. The motions of a killer were already ingrained in his brain long before he met Eric. Similarly, Eric was born a psychopath. He had tendencies of being cold, calculating, and homicidal from a young age, the qualities of a murderer according to a number of professionals. The question was certainly not if he would become a murderer, but when. As young as 10 to 12, both boys were already beginning to formulate a superiority complex in their minds. To them, each person they encountered was not just mentally inferior, but also a general inconvenience. In fact, Dylan recorded the following in his journal just months before the attack.
You know what I hate? Stupid people. Why must so many people be so stupid? You know what I hate? When people mispronounce words, and they don't even know they do it too. Like across, or espresso, Pacific, or two-pack. Learn to speak correctly, you morons.
Eventually, they came to the conclusion that society should be run using natural selection. If a person was not smart enough to fend for themselves, they shouldn't be alive. For example, a few months prior to the Columbine shooting, the two had broken into a van and were put in a juvenile delinquency program. Eric described the situation by stating the following.
Isn't America supposed to be the land of the free? How come, if I'm free, I can't deprive a stupid man of his possessions if he leaves them unlocked, sitting in the front seat of his stupid van, out in plain sight and in the middle of nowhere on a Friday night? Natural selection. That man should be shot.
Yet, their friendship in high school proved to be the leading factor in promoting the attack. Alone, Dylan may have opted for suicide over homicide. When entering the attack senior year, he was only killing others to please Eric. His main goal was actually just to die himself. Although Eric most likely would have grown up to be a serial killer or other type of mass murderer, his bloodlust would have prevented him from strategizing for such a long period of time. Together, though, they planned to generate the destruction of that comparable to Attila the Hun or even Adolf Hitler. In the end, while Eric fired Dylan up about the plan, Dylan calmed Eric down, and the results were sickening. Starting freshman year, bullying became another leading cause of their mental anguish, in addition to naturally ingrained traits and diseases. Neither had been naturally athletic, so they were labeled as social outcasts at Columbine, a school that was and is known for its athletics program. Reflecting back on his past years, Eric spoke about his unjust treatment in the basement tapes, a set of video journals the boys used to document their planning process.
Everyone is always making fun of me because of how I look and how weak I am. Well, I'll get you all back. Ultimate revenge here. You people could have shown more respect, treated me better, asked for my knowledge or guidance more, treated me more like a senior, and maybe I wouldn't have been as ready to tear your heads off. I'll get revenge soon enough.
According to their classmates, there were a number of key bullying incidents leading to the murder. For instance, in January of senior year, the jocks at the school attacked the two boys by squirting ketchup packets on them and throwing other foods at their heads. Earlier that year, a group of students even threw a cup of feces at the two boys. Though it was certainly not the leading cause, the social hierarchy system at the school enraged Eric and Dylan and provided a reason for murder. We have seen Eric and Dylan's long-term bullying and mental health struggles, but were there any short-term contributions to the shooting? Fast forward to months prior to the shooting, and the answer is definitely yes. On a short-term basis, Dylan and Eric's teachers, friends, and parents witnessed abnormal signs of violence and mental health issues in the boys, but failed to recognize that these signs may hold clues to a greater issue. A few months prior to the shooting, Dylan's parents noted he had lost interest in his schoolwork, which he had previously prided himself in. He also started spending more time alone. Both were signs of depression that his parents failed to recognize and treat. In early February, Eric's father found a bomb in his son's closet. Previously, Eric had experienced some troubles with the authorities, and his father did not want his son entwined into any more. Thus, Eric's father simply decided to conceal the weapon without trying to perceive its true implications. Meanwhile, Eric and Dylan asked some of their friends to purchase shotguns. At the time, none of their friends felt the need to question why the shotguns were required for two high school boys. As the shooting date approached, even teachers witnessed signs of violence for the killers' schoolwork. Dylan submitted an essay about a trench-coated man killing several students. Although this essay was revealed to the school counselor, he did not report anything back to Dylan's parents about the violent paper, perceiving nothing worrisome about it. Their video project, titled Hitmen for Hire, easily displayed outward violence as the boys roamed the halls while pretending to shoot fellow students. However, no action was taken against this alarming signal either. Unfortunately, at the time, the boys' teachers, friends, fellow students, and parents failed to recognize the looming indications of the tragedy. Although the April 19th attack only lasted a few hours, its effects remained, and still remain, long after the last bullet was fired. Immediately following the shooting, the nation plunged into a frenzy of suspicion, resulting in stringent enforcement of zero-tolerance policies, regulatory measures that require schools to suspend or expel students who participate in any abnormal actions, especially in the realm of violence. In addition, the attack led to a continued presence of school-age violence, especially in younger children. After the immediate wave of tragedy from the shooting had passed, many schools began to take the incident as a wake-up call that anything similar could happen at any school at any given moment. This influenced districts to increase safety measures like door locking systems, the use of ID badges for staff and visitors, security cameras, call systems, and lockdown drills. If these measures had existed during the time of the shooting, the loss may have been dampened. Furthermore, because bullying was a significant cause of the attack, anti-bullying movements were also promoted and expanded. In addition, school teachers and administrators started to pay very close attention to signs of anger and depression in students, and recognized that these signs may occur in the normal kids as well. Many of today's students do not recognize the Columbine shooting's significance, but due to those who lost their lives then, America has enacted strong safety measures to protect students now. Though Columbine took place over 10 years ago, similar events have become more and more common in our society. In Minnesota alone, a high school sophomore who was a student on the Red Lake Indian Reservation killed 9 of his classmates in 2005. Then, a gunman murdered 33 students and teachers at Virginia Tech less than 3 years later. Between these two events, 13 other notable school shootings took place. The majority of these attacks were only lightly covered on the news. Most recently, 26 children, predominantly kindergartners, were killed in Newtown, Connecticut. These events are tragic to say the least, but they are preventable if only people do more to truly watch out for risky behaviors in students and family and report them when they see them. Though mass shootings are on the rise and their effects are spreading, by examining the causes of earlier shootings, like the mental health of the killers, bullying, and the inability for society to recognize the warning signs, there are ways to undermine such devastating events.